This podcast is brought to you by the Pro Bono Institute. PBI is a nonprofit organization that supports, enhances, and helps to transform the pro bono efforts of major law firms, in-house corporate legal departments, and public interest organizations in the U.S. and around the world. Welcome to the Pro Bono Happy Hour. I'm your host, Nihad Mansour, Assistant Director of the Law Firm Pro Bono Project. In today's Challenge Signatory Showcase episode, I'm speaking with Emily Elam, Head of Legal Strategic Priorities and co-lead of the St. Louis Pro Bono program at Citigroup, about Citi's St. Louis Pro Bono Partnership, a collaboration involving the in-house team at Citi St. Louis, the law firm of Bryan Cave Leighton Paisner, and legal services of Eastern Missouri. We find out about the amazing pro bono work by law firms and corporations through PBI's annual surveys sent to signatories of the Law Firm Pro Bono Challenge Initiative and the Corporate Pro Bono Challenge Initiative. PBI uses the surveys as an essential source of both quantitative and qualitative information about the pro bono programs of law firms and in-house corporate legal departments, and produces both a Law Firm Challenge Report and a CPBO Challenge Report every June with the data collected. Check out this year's challenge reports on PBI's website. Let's get into today's showcase.
The St. Louis Pro Bono Partnership is a three-way partnership between the in-house team at Citi St. Louis, the law firm of Bryan Cave Leighton Paisner, and our local legal aid organization, Legal Services of Eastern Missouri. The partnership has been in existence for over a decade, since the early 2010s, when we had a city attorney who's since retired approached the teams at Bryan Cave and Legal Services with the idea to collaborate on pro bono work and get more of our in-house team involved in this important work. And over the years, we've done a lot of different things to support the St. Louis community. We've worked with domestic violence victims. We've helped out with vacant properties, which are a pretty serious issue here in the St. Louis community. We've helped elderly people in a variety of different settings. And more recently, we've started working with micro entrepreneurs who want to get started with small businesses here in the region. It's been an extremely rewarding partnership for everyone involved. And most importantly, we've had a really big impact on the community. And I'm very proud to say that our city in-house team is going to be recognized with an award later this month of August for the work that we've done through the St. Louis Pro Bono Partnership.
What has been Citi's role in the St. Louis Pro Bono Partnership?
Citi has been involved in the partnership since the beginning. It's actually a Citi idea that started the partnership to collaborate with a law firm and a legal aid organization on pro bono work. And our initial leader has since retired. And so myself and my colleague, April Waugh, are the co-leaders of the program now. And we meet regularly, at least a couple times a month, typically, with our counterparts at Bryan Cave and at Legal Services to plan events, to talk about where there are needs in the community, what might be a fit for our team. And then we leverage the whole department. So this is not just an in-house attorney initiative. This is something where we're including all of our legal staff in St. Louis who want to participate. So we've got paralegals, we've got admins helping out. We even have retirees coming back to support our events, which I think is just really cool and a special thing that we have. And we've got a deep connection that we've forged with the legal aid. So I serve on the board of Legal Services, as does the founder of the program, Larry Kettenbach, who I mentioned has since retired. And it's been incredible to see Citi is not just along for the ride on this program. Citi is truly embedded. We are, we think of it as a three-way partnership, and every organization has its strengths that it brings and is really integral to the success of the model. And I'm so happy that we are able to include not just the attorneys, but the staff. That's something that's really important to me. And so I'm glad that we found a way to do that through this partnership. We have our staff witnessing documents. Several of them are notaries, so they're able to provide that service when we're meeting with clients, and even things like greeting the clients, providing them with a warm welcome, walking them to where they're going to meet the attorneys, getting them copies of whatever documents we're working on. It's really important work, and everything functions better when we have the staff involved.
Why is this collaboration so important?
I think it's really great that we have representation from kind of all sectors of the legal community, right? So we've got Legal Services of Eastern Missouri. They're an LSC funded organization. They are the largest legal aid in the St. Louis region. We also have one of our larger St. Louis-based law firms, Bryan Cave Leighton Paisner, and then we have Citi, which has an important presence here in the St. Louis community. And I think it's really important to be able to leverage the strengths of each organization. So Legal Services is able to identify the needs in the community and work with the clients to kind of do the intake, make sure that they qualify for legal aid services. They're often that comfort level for the clients. The clients are reaching out to them. A client is not necessarily just going to call Citi or Bryan Cave, but they're going to reach out to the legal aid organization, and that brings them into the project. And then having the volunteers from Bryan Cave and from Citi to actually staff the clinics, if we're doing a clinic or if we're doing some other kind of representation to meet with the clients and really do the legwork, is critical. We also rely on Legal Services to provide training, and sometimes the law firm provides training as well. So typically, if we're doing, for example, a clinic on something, we will start out with a CLE that's led by typically our legal services provider and or our law firm partner. And then city attorneys and the Bryan Cave attorneys will work the clinic after we've had that training session. And oftentimes it's just a refresher because we're doing the same things from event to event, but it's nice to have that. And I think it's really great for the St. Louis community to see these different, types of organizations partnering together to make a difference in the community.
What impact has this pro bono work made?
Well, I'll start by talking about the impact that this work has had on the clients, but I also want to talk about the impact that it's had on our volunteers. But first and foremost, the reason we're all doing this is because we care about the St. Louis community and the people who live here, and we want to make a difference for those who need legal aid. And, I don't have to tell you, the statistics are staggering on the amount of people who can't afford legal representation and need it. And so we try to focus on really critical areas where we can provide support and that are going to be maybe a stretch for our team, but something that we can do and do well. And so I mentioned we've worked with domestic violence victims, and we no longer do that work because our legal aid partner found a full-time staff person to do what we were doing. But we were meeting with clients at a restraining order docket and helping them get orders of protection. And that's huge because you would have, it's often women in most of these cases who have been abused, and they're showing up. They may have virtually no experience with the legal system, and their abuser may be sitting across from them in court, oftentimes with an attorney, especially if that's the person who maybe controls the finances. And a lot of these women, mostly women, have told us that they would have walked out if it wasn't for having somebody there by their side to help them get this critical, potentially life-saving order. And, that's just one example. We've also worked with elderly clients on healthcare powers of attorney, advance directives, beneficiary deeds, things that are really important to folks as they're getting to that, later years, end of life stage, thinking about their future and what they want to happen for them. And we did this work starting during the pandemic. And we had this clinic all set up that we were going to do for these elderly clients. And then, of course, we went into lockdown. And we, as a team, all three organizations, we said, this is more critical now than ever, right? These clients really need this. And so we found a way to do it virtually, which was our first foray as a group into any kind of virtual pro bono. We did it mostly over the phone because these elderly folks were not always comfortable with Zoom. We had drive-through notary events that our legal aid organization hosted. And, it was a challenge, but it was really cool to be able to feel like we were doing something at a time when, we felt powerless in a lot of other ways to make a difference in the community. And I could go on and on about impacts that we've had and how it touches our hearts, but I also want to talk about the impact on the volunteers and the team, because when we feel like we are making a difference and we can see these clients face to face and we can talk to them and hear their stories and know what a difference we're making, it makes a difference for us too. It feels good. It's a chance for us to learn new skills. We're working on types of things that we wouldn't normally work on in our day job. And it's also a great opportunity for the team to come together. Talked a little bit earlier about how we try to include all of our staff and attorneys who want to participate in these things. And we really do try to make it fun. We try to, maybe have a happy hour or something after our events to make it really a team building activity. And I'm proud to say that pro bono has kind of become the thing to do in the St. Louis legal office. It's something that everybody seems to enjoy and want to be a part of. And I just think that's so neat to see. And especially when we have people who, they've retired, they're living their best lives on the golf course or whatever they're doing. And this has made such an impact on their life that they're coming back to volunteer at these events because they want to be a part of this team. They want to be a part of making a difference. And so I'm just so proud to be a part of this organization and to have the support of our senior leadership to be able to do these kinds of things.
Yeah, that's so beautiful to hear. It sounds like you've created a community of pro bono and everyone is supportive of that.
What would you say is the most challenging part of this type of project?
I think there are a few challenges. One is always just keeping it fresh and making sure that the work is still interesting, it's not stale. So we try to stick with some of our go-to events. So the healthcare powers of attorney and advanced directives have become kind of a signature event for us. And that's something that we'll do, multiple times throughout the year in many cases. But we also try to mix in some other things to keep it interesting, to add new skills, and to be responsive to what our volunteers are saying that they want to do. And so the work that we started this year with the micro enterprise clients is an example of us trying to think of where is there a need in the community that would be a really cool fit for our team and something that they would be excited about and want to get involved in and would actually leverage some of the skills that we use in our day-to-day work. So I think that's one challenge. And then another challenge is helping the clients and the volunteers feel comfortable. So that goes both ways. I think in many times these clients may not have a lot of experience with attorneys, or they may not have had positive experiences with attorneys or the legal system. And for our volunteers from the law firm and from Citi, they may not have had much experience sitting across the table from a pro bono client. And so we have tried to be very thoughtful about the way we structure our events to make it a positive experience for everyone. So the last couple of years, we've been holding our events at a library in a community where many of the clients live. And I can't speak highly enough of the library because they've been a great partner. They've given us a space that we can use that works really well for the events. They've got copiers there that, if we're doing a clinic, we can run coffees. And it's a place where the clients feel comfortable and the attorneys feel comfortable, right? We don't necessarily want them to have to come to our office or to the Bryan Cave office where it might be intimidating or it might be hard for them to travel to. But going to the library in a community where they're familiar has been great. And it's a comfortable setting for our staff too, right? Everybody, for the most part, is pretty comfortable in a library. It's a safe place. They've got safe parking, good accommodations. So that's worked really well. And then we started in 2023 introducing a cultural competency program for our attorneys. And we actually presented it at the PBI annual conference this year. And it really just kind of arose out of this feeling that our teams are wanting to get involved. They want to do the right thing, but they may not be really comfortable interacting with these clients, or they may not know how to handle a situation where things are different than they are with a paying client. Or for the Citi folks, they may not be working as much with clients as they are with business people who we kind of think of as our clients. And so we wanted to just kind of bridge that gap a little bit, right? And help the team understand some of the challenges that these clients are going through, how to relate to them, and why this work matters so much. And I think that's been helpful too in kind of making it more comfortable for everybody. And then with the clients, we do have people greeting them when they walk in. It's a friendly, welcoming setting. We have refreshments there. We have people making copies and chatting with them so that they feel welcomed and supported and like they can ask questions, because it is intimidating. And the services that we're providing, we think are important services for these people to take advantage of. And so we don't want to have any barriers to somebody accessing those services.
Is there any advice that you would give to other legal departments who want to start their own partnership project?
Well, I would encourage every legal department to start a partnership project, because I think this is important and it's relatively easy to do with support. And having the other organizations involved makes this infinitely more doable than if Citi were trying to do this work on our own. It's so valuable to us to have legal services and Bryan Cave involved with us in this work. I think the first thing for anyone who's thinking about starting something like this from scratch is to get support from your own internal leadership. We have been so fortunate at Citi to have incredible support from our leadership locally and globally, and that is critical and it's huge. They allow us to do pro bono work during the day. They are extremely supportive and encouraging of the work that we do. It's shared throughout the department. And like I said, it's really kind of become the thing to do at Citi, which I think is just incredibly cool and would not be possible without very deep support from our senior leadership. And then I think it's about leveraging existing relationships that you might have in the community. So once you've got the buy-in from your senior leadership and you've got your idea, think about, are there law firms that you work with on a regular basis that have a presence in the community where you have your office or your potential volunteers? And, at Citi, we're global and there, are different things happening in different cities. I've been talking today about what we're doing here in St. Louis, but think about where you have staff and where you have law firm relationships, and then where there's a legal aid organization in your community. And we use an LSC partner. There are other legal aid organizations, but think about who you know and start having those conversations about, maybe you start small with one event and you see how that goes. And then you build from there. And that has worked really well for us by leveraging those relationships. And like I said, it was someone else who actually started the program, but it was based on those relationships that we had and have continued to have, throughout this time as the program has continued to grow. I think it's important to think about how to include the whole team and how to make it fun. So this isn't just a chore or something that people feel like they have to do, but something that people want to do. And I think for most people, once they do their first pro bono event, they're hooked because they see the impact and they have a great time. But how do you get somebody to that first event? And it's, hey, everybody's doing this. This is going to be a fun thing. Tell the stories. I remember the first time I was invited to a pro bono event, it was right after I had started at Citi and we were doing the work with the domestic violence victims. And Larry, the person who had started the program, came to my office one day and said, have you thought about pro bono work? And I said, well, I don't really know anything about it. And he told me about the program and the work they were doing. And he told me a story about a client that this program had helped, who was an abused woman who, had been terribly victimized, and her abuser was there in court and she was about to walk out. She was so terrified, and they were able to get her this order of protection. And just hearing that story, I was like, yeah, I'm in, sign me up. When's the next docket that I can go to? So I think, telling those stories and then making it that fun event. So we're going to make an impact. We are going to do something really important for people in our community right here in St. Louis. And then we're going to do something fun as a group afterwards. And so it becomes really a whole team building event. And, if you maybe don't have existing relationships in your community, or you just want to, get some ideas, I'm happy to talk to anybody who's interested in starting something like this. I'm on LinkedIn, Emily Elam. You can contact me and I'll respond because I care about this deeply and I'm happy to share advice. And PBI is an incredible resource. We have an in-house community at PBI. There's an email gaggle chain that we use. We've got bi-monthly calls where we share strategies and ideas. And so if you don't have a program that's already up and running, but you're thinking about it and you want to talk to people, I would really encourage you to get involved in that PBI community. There's resources on the website as well. And ask questions and hear what other people are doing. I mean, I come away from those calls with ideas every time. And we've had a program that's been in place for years and years. And so it's a really great resource. I just want to thank PBI for giving me the opportunity to talk about this St. Louis Pro Bono Partnership. I am grateful to be a part of the in-house pro bono community and to benefit from all the resources that PBI has, and really appreciate this opportunity to share the work that we've been doing. I also just want to express gratitude to everyone who's participated in the partnership, from Citi, from Bryan Cave, and from Legal Services of Eastern Missouri, especially my co-leader, April Wah, who makes all of this possible with me every day. And I want to thank our leadership at Citi who enable us to do this important work in the community.
Thanks to Emily Elam for her leadership and expertise. A special thanks to Citi for doing great work and being a corporate pro bono challenge signatory. If your law firm or in-house legal department is interested in becoming a challenge signatory, check out PBI's website for more information. Thanks for listening, and be sure to tune in next time on the Pro Bono Happy Hours Challenge Signatory Showcase series to hear more about innovative pro bono work.